Hi everybody, this is Jeanette Keynes from Jewelry Arts Inc. I'm here to show you a little bit about the miter block. Not all jewelers use miter blocks, but it's one of those tools that, like, once you start using it, it's unbelievably helpful. Like, for example, I've been making all of these spacers for necklaces, you see, juicy. But just to cut all of those little guys and cut them at the same length would be incredibly irritating if you're not using a miter block. So what I did was I made an enormous length of tubing like so, which we did not record, so we're going to have to do another tutorial on that, on how to make nice long tubing. But I started with very thin metal, like 5/1000s, very thin, so you can get actually quite a bit out of your metal. So this is what you do. A miter block, I'm going to just take everything out and show you how it all comes together. Really, a miter block is just so that you can saw things straight. So you can put a ring shank in here. You know, you loosen this up right here. You put whatever you've got. Slide it up. You slide it right through here and you close it and tighten it, and that way it holds it really nice and tight. So you could put a ring shank in there, you could put a bezel in there. That's why it just has the different shapes. You know what I mean? Like for little round wires or flat or, you know, tubing or whatever. You close it up, you squeeze it, and then you can file or saw absolutely just right up against the block. The blocks are made of like sort of extra hardened steel, so you may get a few cosmetic little scratches, but it won't like get too beaten up. And that's how you're able to get links and things like straight, because getting things straight, you know, makes everybody fucking crazy, right? We're all going, yes, crazy. So what I'm using it for at the moment, though, is I'm cutting all this tubing, and I want to cut it all, you know, to the same little lengths. Because also, if you ever try to saw or cut little lengths of tubing without a miter block, it is incredibly hard to get the sides straight, and it'll make you ape shit, I think is the technical term. So this is definitely what I use. So what I did for this is I was like, okay, I want my links, I want these little guys to be about 3 millimeters long. So I took my dividers, find the damn millimeters. Okay, here we go. You know, so I set my dividers at 3 millimeters, like so. And you see how I just made a little scratch right there. So I'm going to put that right in here. And I'm going to close it. I'm trying to position myself so you can actually see what I'm doing. Because I just want to see that little line just outside of this right here. You see what I mean? There's my line. Scooch it in so it's right there. And I'm going to tighten it up. So in order to be able to do this again and again and again, because I don't really want to have to take my dividers each time and mark it and set it up there, I'm going to use one of the little stops. So they give you this cute little Allen wrench, this little hex key. You know what I mean? You see this little guy right here? So this works on the side right here. You use this to open this up. And then you slide this little cutie right in there like that and put it right up against there. Now I'm going to tighten this so that it holds it in place. You see what I mean? Now this is not going to move now. So what I can do is I'm going to saw right up against my miter block like so. And the whole thing, a lot of people do have trouble getting a straight cut because they're not understanding that you have to use either your file or your saw blade like absolutely right up against the block. So in other words, I would do like this. And you see how my blade is absolutely resting. Ta-da! Now normally I would either do this on my bench pin and like have my drawer open in there, or I'm not gonna lie to you, A lot of times I just do it on a paper plate because it collects all of your filings and then your little pieces just sit right in there, but whatever makes you happy. And if you notice, if you look, that way you have that really beautiful and straight. You know what I mean? It's right flat up against the block. So when I go to do the next one, all I have to do is loosen this up a little bit. Slide this forward. You see what I mean? Till it hits that. And tighten it up. You see what I mean? It's like the exact same increment. And that way I can saw these off actually pretty quickly because it becomes just sort of like, you know, saw, tighten. And I did a whole bunch of these in not all that much time. One thing, it will leave some little, you do tend to get a little burr on the edge, and it's actually much more efficient to put all of this in the tumbler for a couple hours to knock them all off than to hold them all and try to individually clean them. Pull it together, people. It's okay. But it's much easier to do that than to hold each one and kind of take a little sandpaper and knock them off there. So what I did is I take mine and I just string them on some steel binding wire and I stick them in the tumbler for a couple hours. And not only does it polish them up and make them like beautiful and shiny, but it takes any little burrs off. So this is the most efficient method that I know of to do this because it really didn't take that long, and any other method